Hello everyone, today I'm Burak Aktaş. Today in our writing class we are going to look at the subject compare and contrast paragraph. Before I move into my subject, I would like to talk about the words you see here. Okay, compare and contrast. Compare. The dictionary tells us the definition of compare as to examine the resemblances or differences of two or more things. Such as, teacher asked us to compare British English and American English. So, by means of resemblance, what are we talking about? Resemblances, we can say that this is similarities or differences. So, British English and American English have both similarities and differences to each other. Good. The other definition is the relation between two or more things. He is tall compared to me. So, what I'm doing here is to compare him to myself. He is taller than me compared to me, right? He is tall. And the test was easy compared with the last one. Here, I am comparing two different texts with each other, right? The test, you can say, the test you have took 2 days ago and the test you have took yesterday, such as. Good. And what about contrast? Contrast is an obvious difference between two or more things. Again, I like the contrast of the white trousers with the black jacket. Now, we are talking about differences here. And the color white and black is what? They are completely different from each other. They present us a contrast, right? Good. There is a contrast between what he does and what he says he does. Again, there is an opposition. There is a difference between what he says and what he does. Good. Now, what are we doing when we are writing a compare and contrast paragraph? In a compare and contrast paragraph, we write about the similarities and differences between the two people, places, things, or ideas. Now, again, we are seeing that this theme keeps repeating itself. Two people, places, things, or ideas. Now, let's compare these two things here, okay? Let's compare iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 with each other. I'm hoping that you are all familiar with these two telephones here. So, what can we say about iPhone 7 that is different from iPhone 8 here? Again, when we compare iPhone 8, we can say that iPhone 7 has better battery life than iPhone 8, right? This is the difference we are talking about here, right? So, it has less video quality than iPhone 8, less video quality. It has more color options. It comes with more color options when we compare it with iPhone 8, okay? And what are the similarities here? Okay, let's talk about the similarities between iPhone 7 and iPhone 8. As you have seen earlier, design, right? They both share the same design. Okay, and they both share the same camera quality. This is where they get equal. This is where they get similar with each other. And what's the difference? What does the iPhone 8 brings to the table? Faster. It is faster than iPhone 7, I can say. Or I can say it is heavier than iPhone 7. Or iPhone 8 is slightly bigger than iPhone 7. Again, please, I want us to notice there is something keeps happening here, and that is that we are using all the time something. What is that? Big, heavy, fast, better, last, more. What are these? These are called adjectives, right? And what are adjectives? Adjectives are words that describe the qualities or the states of being of nouns. They can also describe the quantity of nouns, such as enormous flat, silly person, bad dog, These are all adjectives, right? These describe a noun and the state they are in, the quality of the noun. How is it? It is enormous. How is it? He is a silly person. How is this dog? Bad dog, right? And this is the quantity of nouns. What do I mean when I say quantity? Please don't get confused here. Quantity, when I say quantity, I am talking about the digits, numbers. So, a few minutes, million stars, many students. These are the numbers and the digits we are talking about. They describe their state. So, but again, we are not when we are trying to compare things, we are not solely only using their adjective state in a single way. We are making comparative adjectives. And how are we making this? First, why are we making this? Comparative adjectives are used to compare differences between the two objects they modify. Like, they are used in sentences where two nouns are compared. Again, here is my thing here. We've seen larger, smaller, faster, and higher as examples here, right? And what happens to these adjectives when we compare them, when we try to use them as comparison? They got an suffix, and this is what er, right? High becomes higher, and fast becomes faster, right? And there are some rules to it, right? There are some rules to it that follows. For most one-syllable adjectives, syllable, guys, this is important. When we are putting these suffixes, we are looking at the syllable. How many syllables does this adjective have? Okay, and we make it with, again, as I said, by putting er. Okay, for most one-syllable adjectives, we are putting the er. Okay, if it ends with an e, we are only using r. Like what? Large, right? Large becomes larger, right? For two-syllable adjectives ending in y, this is also a rule here, right? Replace with y with ier. For multi-syllable adjectives, add the word more, right? Such as, let's look at these examples. Strong becomes stronger, right? Stronger. And short becomes shorter. If you can see, like this girl, compared with this girl, is shorter, right? And the word funny. Funny becomes funnier here, right? Y-I-E-R because the letter Y here, ending at the word funny, right? Good. And difficult. A word such as difficult with more syllables, we have more here, right? Difficult becomes more difficult. Okay, now let's talk about superlative adjectives. I'm sure you are familiar with this, and we'll talk about this during our classes. So, again, let's remember. Superlative adjectives indicate that something has the highest degree of the quality in question. Again, guys, please take notice. Superlative, in the title, I have the word super here, right? And this is when we are talking about something is super than something else, right? So, again, some rules here applies, right? One-syllable adjectives become superlatives by adding the suffix est, right? Such as fastest here, right? Fastest. Or just st for adjectives that already end in e, right? Good. Two-syllable adjectives ending in y, replace y with iest, right? Multi-syllable adjectives add the word most. Again, as an example, I can give prettiest, right? The word pretty becomes iest with the takes the iest syllable. Again, multi-syllable adjectives add the word most. Most expensive, such as, right? Let's look at the bigger picture here. Okay, now we are comparing these two little girls here. They are short, right? But one is the shortest, and there is only one, right? It's the super short, right? Super short. She is super short, so we can say superlatives here, right? Shortest. And compared with this tree, out of this tree, she is the shortest. And please take notice, I am saying the shortest, okay? The shortest. Why? Because it's unique. Good. Again, funny, funnier, and funniest. Same rule applies here, right? Funnier, funny, it become IER, and at the superlative, it became funniest. Okay, nice. And with more than two syllable words, difficult. Difficult became more difficult when we looked at under comparative adjectives, and in superlative it became the most difficult, right? For example, you can say the most difficult subject for me is mathematics. This is a good example for that. It's in your opinion. Let's try to look at some exercises here. Now we are seeing three different male person here, and they have one is older than. So who is older than Paul? Paul, we see this. Who is older than Paul? Let me give you some seconds to think about. Right, Brett is older than Paul. So who is the youngest? When we see this, we see that what do we see? We have a baby here. So compare with this tree, the youngest is Tim, right? Because he is a baby now, right? Good. Again, we are making comparison here, right? And we are using superlatives here. Okay. Who is the slower than the hare? Again, we are seeing three different animals here, and one is slower than the hare, right? You don't say cheetah, right? So the snail, right? The snail is slower than the hare, we say. Who is the fastest? Who is the fastest? Right? The cheetah is the fastest animal in the world, we can say, as an example. Who is stronger than Dave? Who is stronger than Dave? Right? Dave. I guess John is stronger than Dave, right? Nice. So let's look at this now. As, okay? So we talked about, in this example, okay? In this example, we talked about differences and similarities, right? Let's say, like we talked about differences here. But here, we will talk about similarities. Because why? We use as adjective adverb as to make comparisons when the things we are comparing are equal in some way. Okay? The world's biggest bull is as big as a small elephant. I am comparing bull with an elephant. And the world's biggest bull, like the superlative here, is as big as a small elephant. So, they are what? They are equal, right? They are equal in their bigness. The weather this summer is as bad as last year. It hasn't stopped raining for 4 weeks. Again, last year's weather was bad, and this year's weather is also bad. So, I'm saying it's as bad as last year. Good. Now, some examples here. Peter is Fred. And we have complete the following sentences using the comparative form as. So, guys, how are we forming this? What's the format here? What's the formula? So, as I said, let's go back. As big as, right? As big as a small elephant. I need my adjective between these two as, right? As big as. Here. So, the answer is not as tall as, right? Peter is not as tall as Fred. No equality here. And the violin is the cello, not low, we have. So, my adjective is low here. So, not as low as the cello, right? This copy is the other one, bad. Okay, we don't have negativity here. We need to make this sentence with positive. So, this copy is as bad as the other one. Again, we are making comparison here and we are finding equality. They are the same. I am talking about similarity, equality, okay? So we have a table here. So now it gets a bit more complex. We have three different famous tennis players here. Okay, one is Rafael Nadal, one is Novak Djokovic, and Roger Federer. Okay, and we are presenting here different information related to them, right? Like their date of birth, birthplace, siblings, and so on. And let's try to make comparison. Like, what are their similarities? What are their differences? Let's try to find some, let's look at some examples here. Nadal is older than Djokovic, but Federer is the oldest, right? When we talk about their birth date, right, like such as Nadal was what? Again, let me go here. Nadal was 1986, and Novak is 1987, and Federer is 1981. So, Nadal is older than Djokovic, but Federer is the oldest, we can say, right, compared to. And Nadal's birthplace is the furthest west in Europe, right, furthest west in Europe. Federer's birthplace is further west than Djokovic. Here Nadal is compared with all the other tennis players, right, like compared among these two players, right, Djokovic and Federer. So Nadal's birthplace is the furthest west in Europe, right? This is the superlative. Federer's birthplace is further west than Djokovic. Here I am comparing Federer with Djokovic, right? Good. And Federer has as many sisters as Nadal. Djokovic has more siblings than both, right? What we see here is the number of their siblings, right? Djokovic has two younger brothers, and Federer has one older sister, and Nadal has one younger sister. So I can say Federer has as many sisters as Nadal, right? Because they share the same number, right? Share the same number, as many sisters as Nadal. Djokovic has more siblings than both, right? Than both of their siblings. Good. Both Nadal and Federer has the same height. Nadal is as tall as Federer. Djokovic is shorter than them, right? And Federer weighs as much as Nadal. Djokovic weighs the least. And Djokovic has the highest rank among them. Nadal's rank is higher than Federer's. Okay? So, when we compare their, for example, heights, we see that both Nadal and Federer has the same height, right? 185 and 185. And Nadal is as tall as Federer, right? Because they are the same here. Okay, I think this might be enough for you for today about this subject. So let's skip a bit. Signal words for compare and contrast paragraphs. This is important, people. In our paragraphs, we are using conjunctions, like we are using words. And these words almost always occur in our paragraphs, right? Is similar to. Let's talk about this. Spring weather in Vancouver is similar to spring weather in Halifax, right? Is similar to. This means it is, what we are talking about here is resemblance, okay? Resemblance, similarities. Good, is similar to. We can use this. And by the way, please notice, I am using the color green for resemblances, similarities, and I'm using the color red for differences, okay? Both Vancouver and Halifax have rain in the spring. Still, here I am making comparison, okay? I am finding what similarities. Both Vancouver and Halifax have rain in the springs, right? Good. For example, both Federer and Nadal share the same blah blah, right? Weights, for example. Also, Halifax also has a rainy spring season. Halifax also has a rainy spring season. This means also we are making a comparison with what? Vancouver here. Good. 2. Halifax has a rainy spring season too. So again, I am explaining here. And I'm saying it is similar, okay? As well, Halifax has rainy spring season as well. So you can use as well to almost anywhere where you can use to. For example, we say nice to meet you, right? Nice to meet you, and you say back nice to meet you too, right? So nice to meet, you can say nice to meet you as well here. Not only, but also. Not only Halifax, but also Vancouver has rainy spring season. Again, not only Halifax, but also Vancouver has rainy spring season. Again, a similarity. We are talking about their similarity, right? Now let's talk about contrast. On the other hand, winter is much colder in Halifax. Okay, so when we use this, on the other hand, we are talking about we are making contrast. Again, however, nevertheless, nonetheless. However, winter is much colder in Halifax. Or in contrast to Vancouver, Halifax has a cold winter. Again, these three conjunctions, words, we can use it as a contrast signal word for when we write our compare and contrast paragraphs. Okay, and there is also while, whereas. While Vancouver has a mild winter, Halifax has a cold winter. Okay, unlike the dog, unlike the cat, is dependent on its master. Okay, it means like different from the cat, right? Different from the cat. So when you're writing your paragraphs, you keep repeating things, right? In order for not to repeat things, guys, please use these conjunctions. Okay, let's not always say but. Okay, you always say but. You say let's say basketball is better than football, but don't say this. Try to use different conjunctions here. Like although, though, even though. Although they were rich, they lived simply and were at peace with all the world. All the world. Okay. So let's skip a bit. Let's do this together. Write sentences of comparison by using the words and phrases given. Some of the sentences you will have to add a verb. So, the Spanish language and the Italian language. How can we say this? How can we form this sentence with using similar to? Right? The Spanish language is similar to the Italian language. So, again, we are making comparison here, and this is similar, right? Knowing a second language, useful, travel, employment. Not only but also. Let's use this. How can we use this? Not only but also. Again, knowing a second language is not only useful for traveling, but also for seeking employment, right? Seeking employment. Again, this is there is more to this, right? There is more to this, and I'm explaining it. So, male students, female students, school sports participate in like, it says. Male students, and let's use like here. Female students participate in school sports like male students, right? We can say this. Or male students like female students, okay. This is enough. Female students participate in school sports like male students. So, private, public universities, good education, and we are going to use the both or and. Okay, so first of all, after both, I need to use what? Both something and something else, right? So I need my nouns here. Both private and public universities, right, provide good education. Is a good example. So let's talk about an example comparison and contrast paragraph. Cats and dogs. Okay, this title is Cats and Dogs. It is a fact that, okay, let's try to understand what this writer wants to do with this paragraph. Okay, it's a fact that the most popular pets are cats and dogs around the world. Cats and dogs make excellent pets, but a similarity and two differences between them make it hard to decide to choose. Okay, cats and dogs are okay. First of all, what can I say as my topic sentence here? So, what is this person is going to talk about, right? Here is I can find my topic sentence, right? Cats and dogs make excellent pets, but a similarity and two differences between them make it hard to decide to choose. This is the subject of my text here, okay? Now, this person is going to explain this person is going to give us details about what makes them similar and different to each other, right? Cats and dogs are similar to each other, right, physically, because they both have 4 legs, a tail, sharp teeth, and both of them are lovely and friendly, right? So now it talks about he or she is talking about the similarity, right? However, there are some differences between cats and dogs. Now, when we bring about this conjunction, however, right? However, makes the whole flow contrast, right? There are some differences between cats and dogs. The first difference is management. Now, here's some topic for you, right? The supporting sentences. The first difference is management. Cats don't have to be watched during the day, right? Unlike dogs, right, we can say. And it is easier to get care if the owner travels, right? For cats, it's easier. We are making comparison, right? Comparison. And we are using what? Again, comparative adjectives. Here, you can see many of them appearing, right? In contrast, dogs shouldn't be left alone. They can cause some trouble. Again, this person is still talking about the differences, right? The second difference is cost. Cats are less expensive to own and take care of. Again, we are using comparative adjective here. Food and healthcare costs are usually fairly low. Also, cats are less likely to damage property or hurt themselves. On the other hand, dogs often chew on furniture. Again, let's look at this. On the other hand, this is a good adversarial point, right? So, while cats do this, on the other hand, dogs do that, right? Dogs often chew on furniture and damage gates or fences, and sometimes get into fights and hurt themselves, right? All in all, right? My closing sentence is coming right now. Owners should think about these aspects to care for their pets in a safe manner. From my point of view, cats are better to look after for a busy person, right? It's a better choice. Again, this is a very nice paragraph to talk about compare and comparison, right? Good. We have made our, we talked about their similarities, which is what? They both have 4 legs, right? And both of them are lovely and friendly. Here you go. This is your similarities, right? What are the differences, right? Differences. The first difference is management, right? Management. So, some cats can be managed better, right? In contrast, dogs shouldn't be left alone. We talked about this, right? Second difference, cost. This paragraph talked about cost and again used these conjunctions and comparative adjectives in a proper way and made a good flow, right? So this is good. I want us to examine. Let me skip a bit here. I already talked about this, right? So let's examine this paragraph. Judy and Margie, and finish our lesson together. All right? Judy and Margie. People sometimes ask me who my best friend is. Okay. Now this person will be comparing his 2 friends. Okay. What are their similarities and what are their differences? Okay. Truthfully, I do not know. I have 2 close friends and I like them both very much. My friends Judy and Margie is alike in conversation. Each has an excellent sense of humor and we all enjoy many of the same activities. However, my 2 friends are different in many ways. I have more arguments with Judy. She complains if she does not like something and she argues if she disagrees with me. Margie rarely complains or argues, so we almost never fight. On the other hand, Judy is a more honest friend. She always says exactly what she thinks or feels. In contrast, Margie never says anything negative about things I have said or done. Instead, she may say something to someone else. Her comments often get back to me. If Judy has a complaint, she discusses with the person who has caused the problem. Anyway, I like them very much. Guys, let's look at the what's this writer doing here, okay? Let's try to find the similarities between them. So, what are similarities? What is the similarities? I like them both very much, right? This is the similarity. And both are intelligent, loyal, and helpful, right? She is talking about, or he is talking about the similarity. And Judy and Margie both are intelligent, loyal, and helpful. Either can carry on a great conversation. Each has an excellent sense of humor. And we all enjoy many of the same activities. However, right, when we see the word however, the voice, the tone of the paragraph will change now, right? Now we will be talking about what? We will be talking about contrasts. We're talking about the differences, right? Good. I have more arguments with Judy. This is the difference here, right? She complains if she does not like something, and she argues if she disagrees with me, right? The difference. Margie rarely complains or argues, so we almost never fight. On the other hand, which is a good, very strong signifier for a coming adversary point, for a coming different point here, okay? Judy is a more honest friend. She always says exactly what she thinks or feels. In contrast, Margie never says anything negative about things I have said or done. Instead, she may say something to someone else. Her comment often gets back to me. If Judy has a complaint, she discusses it with the person who has caused the problem. Okay? So, these are two different friends, right? Two different friends, and they have their both similarities and differences here. Again, this is another text, but for today, I think we have fooled our time with you, and now I want to give you a homework, okay? Now it's your turn. Now compare and contrast Ankara and London in a paragraph of about 160 and 180 words, okay? Try to brainstorm about this first, okay? What is the differences and what are the similarities of Ankara and London, right? What can you think of? Please write it down and try to use these conjunctions. However, while, in similar to, both, not only but also, right? Please try to use these words I have talked about in your paragraphs. I wish you a good day and stay safe.